Richards, and I went to Ohio State from 1985 to 1990. We're here today on a beautiful Saturday afternoon at the Ohio State campus. We're going to look at some of the sites. I'm going to tell you some stories about my time here. We're going to show you some of the beautiful sites for the campus. We're sitting today at the Ohio Union here on the campus of Ohio State now. This is where the students congregate. I'm watching some students play Frisbee in the mall area off camera here. And this is where students will congregate to study, to eat. It's a very big building. This is a newer building. This was not the building that was present when I was here. It was much older. In fact, the building that I went to was the same one my mom went to in the 60s. They tore that down and built this building. It's much bigger. I actually, when I was a student here, spent a lot of time studying and eating here, and actually saw a speech by the Prime Minister of Israel at the time, Yitzhak Shamir, probably in the maybe late 1980s, and he spoke here with a lot of security, obviously. There was a time when in the springtime there was some heavy rains, and on the other side of this building is High Street, which is the main drag that runs up and down through campus, and it flooded, and it was so deep, probably 6 feet of water, that people were swimming in the street. We all would just hang out front and yell at them, and then all the idiots would jump in the water and swim around. And that was during a bad rainstorm in the spring. Okay, now we're standing on what is known as the Oval. This is the center of Ohio State's campus. This is the gathering area for students. They've had graduations here. I believe Barack Obama spoke here at one point in time. It's a huge area. It's the biggest green space on campus, and they keep it that way. It's surrounded by the oldest buildings on campus. Just off camera here, that you'll get a picture of it in a little bit, is the geology building, Horton Hall right there. And each county in Ohio contributed some kind of stone to that building. And the geology library is in there. It's the quietest library on campus. It's where I studied the whole time. Right behind me is the main library, which is always a zoo, and that is the center point of the Oval here. We'll get a picture of, there's a walkway that goes all the way down the middle of the Oval that has a name. It's called the Long Walk. It goes straight through. From the air, this looks fantastic. There's crisscrossing sidewalks throughout the Oval. It's a neat scene to capture from the sky. It looks like they've replanted some grass. They've done some construction here, and they do a good job to try and keep it a green space. In the springtime, students come out and they'll plop down on the ground. I unfortunately did that a few times on the way to class. I didn't quite make it to class. I ended up here hanging out and kind of missed class a couple of times, real estate class. Again, it's ringed by academic buildings all the way around, and I believe Bricker Hall is right there, which is the office of the president of Ohio State, Michael Drake. Faculty Club is right there. These are the oldest buildings on campus. Over here, I think you can probably get that, is with the flag on top, is University Hall. That building is not the original University Hall, but that's where the first building on campus was in 1870 when Ohio State was founded as a land-grant university. It burned down. Everything was in that building at that time. It was the food services for the students. There was only 20 students at Ohio State at the time. The dorms were in there, the classes were in there, everybody was there. The building burned down in the early 1900s, and I think they built, that may be the second or third one. And that has been there for many years. I had a class in there many years ago as well. Go Bucks! So here we are at the heart of the Ohio State campus, Ohio Stadium, which is the mecca for most of us.
If you grew up a Buckeye, if you grew up in the great state of Ohio, or if you are a Buckeye now, this is the real one. This is the greatest rivalry in all of sport, not college football, all of sport.
Number one, the team that hits the hardest and the longest, the team that starts the fastest, and the team is too damn smart to make mistakes.
I stand before you with much respect.
This stadium holds 105,000 people. It's the fourth largest in the country, and in the fall, every one of those seats are full for Ohio State football. Some other sports, I think soccer plays here as well, but this is the center of campus, and it's where Ohio State has gotten a lot of its recognition over the years. Some people say that's bad because the football team's doing it, but at least gets Ohio State's name out into the general public, more around the world, around the country, and this is where it happens. I've been here for so many amazing events. In 1987, the first concert that was ever held in Ohio Stadium was here. Pink Floyd played. They also played in 1988. I saw both of those. And Genesis played in 1991, I think, the band Genesis. So they've had concerts. The Rolling Stones have been here, and I believe Taylor Swift was even here, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago. So this is a beautiful building. It was built in the 1920s. At the time, it was amazing because it had 60,000 seats. It was all concrete. It is a horseshoe, was a horseshoe, it still is, but they filled it in at the end with more seats. So this is one of the great places at Ohio State. Okay, we're overlooking Mirror Lake here on the campus now. This is another popular gathering spot, as you can see. I don't know if you can see, but there are a lot of people hanging around by the lake. It used to be a thing fed by a spring that came from the Old Tangi River, which is about a mile that way. Eventually that dried up, but the lake stayed behind and became a fun spot for people to gather. The big thing about this area is that the Friday night before the Ohio State-Michigan game, the students come here and they all jump in the lake. I think they banned that a couple years ago, but I think the students still do that. And it is a big, crazy scene that evening. It's a lot of fun. Over this shoulder here, if you can see it, is an amphitheater, and there was just a performance there before we went on camera. And that amphitheater was a scene of a big celebration for Jerry Garcia when he died in 1995. We came down here and they had a little celebration of his life. He was the lead singer of the Grateful Dead. And there were a lot of people down here. It was impromptu. We just kind of gathered. There were drum circles, a lot of people singing and chanting and just hanging out. And that was quite a good scene. So this is a popular area of campus.